When you accept yourself with your flaws and keep your chin up and face the world with a smile, you are what we call Flawsome. That's a neat meshing of the words flaws and awesome. But when I say be Flawsome, what do I really mean? So let me share with you a story to make my point. Maybe some of you have heard this before, I don't know. So the story goes something like this. Many years ago, there was this guy. He was a water carrier or a water bearer, and he would carry 2 water pots hung on each end of the pole that would then rest on his shoulders. So this guy would take these 2 pots to the river nearby, fill them up with water, and then return home to his master's house. So one of the pots was perfect, but the other pot had a crack in it, which is why it kept leaking water on the way back. So you had a perfect pot and you had a cracked pot. All right. Every day, the water carrier would fill these pots with water and bring them home walking the exact same path. And every day, the perfect pot was always full of water, no surprise. And the cracked pot had lost more than half of its water, well, because it was cracked. It was damaged. What else do we expect? So for a couple of years, this went on, and the perfect pot was quite proud of the fact that it was able to perform its role as expected. The perfect pot was a perfect pot, and it did its job perfectly, right? But the cracked pot felt sad and ashamed that even though it was made to carry water, that was its function. It was never able to do its job to the satisfaction of its owner. The cracked pot considered itself a failure. So one day, the cracked pot couldn't take it anymore. He was just too ashamed and too heartbroken and too guilty. And said to the water carrier who was sitting next to the riverbank. And it said to him, look, I really want to apologize to you for letting you down all these years. I'm cracked and I'm flawed as a pot, and I can't hold the water I'm meant to hold. And I feel terrible that every day you put so much energy to fill me up, and I just waste away. I waste away more than half the water on the way back. Because I'm such a failure, then I make you look bad in front of your master. I'm just so sorry. The water carrier smiled, and he told the cracked pot to just pay attention to the beautiful flowers on the way back. That's it. As the water carrier put both pots back on the pole and started walking back home, exact same path as he always did, the cracked pot looked at this long row of beautiful flowers and felt momentarily joyful and happy to witness such a pleasant view. These flowers were gorgeous, all the colors. And once they got home, the water carrier said to the pot, "You did see the flowers on your side of the path, right?" The cracked pot said, "Yeah, they were gorgeous, they were wonderful, they cheered me up. But I'm afraid I'm now sad all over again because here I am, and more than half the water is gone once again, as it always does." The water carrier said, "Okay, but did you notice any flowers on the other side of the path? The side where the perfect pot hangs on the pole?" The cracked pot said, "No, there were no flowers on the other side. There were only flowers on my side." The wise water carrier smiled and said, "That's true, but there's a reason for it. And that's because I always knew from the beginning that you had a flaw, but I decided to take advantage of this flaw. I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day when I walked back from the river, you watered these seeds. And because you watered these seeds regularly, they grew into beautiful, healthy flowers. And then I would pick some of these flowers and decorate my master's table with it. These flowers made both the path we walk on and the home beautiful. This would not have been possible without your so-called flaw." I hope this story resonates with you as much as it does with me. Look, the flaws we all carry, whether physical or emotional, they are what make our life experiences unique. These flaws give us the unique personality and the character that unfortunately many of us try to deny. We fight this, we suppress this. And yes, there is a clear line between embracing your flaws and working to improve yourself where you can. And you must. Why not? I'll give you an example of one of my students. So there was this young man. He was in my interpersonal communication class. And he would get extremely nervous, especially with respect to public speaking and assignments. He would sweat, stammer, at times even blanked out just looking at the board. Didn't know what to say. Sometimes his hands were shivering. And then came the final assignment, which was more than 1/3 of the total grade. So a lot was resting on this final assignment. So as he was walking to the microphone to deliver his presentation, the final presentation, he carried a large water bottle in his hand. And when he got to the stage, and he looked at everybody, and he said, guys, I've been hyperventilating for the past 5 minutes. If I continue hyperventilating and I pass out during this presentation, I've brought this cold water with me. Just sprinkle it on my face and I will surely be waking up immediately, because I know this water is ice cold. I will surely finish this presentation, and surely Mr. Saud Masood here would give me an A for displaying such courage and tenacity. And he just looks at me and he gives me a nervous smirk, hoping that I would acknowledge his humor. And the entire room erupted with laughter at how beautifully this young man handled his vulnerability. You know, his so-called flaw made him so real and charming and endearing. And most of all, it revealed to him that everyone in the room was on his side. And because he embraced his flaw, he dismantled its negative power or hold over him. Look, getting better at public speaking or any other skill for that matter is a good thing. So do what it takes to get better. But in the interim, during your self-improvement journey, do not be held hostage by what will people say. Judge yourself justly and objectively, never ever harshly. And I guarantee you, if you be you and you own you, then all anyone can ever say about you is that you are Flawsome.